The New York Yankees are most likely going to add some pitching at this year's trade deadline. They desperately need pitching reinforcements, not because their pitching staff sucks, but because it's good, but has some clear flaws and has some clear cracks. They also have some injuries that they're dealing with, which, I mean, every team with pitchers is dealing with injuries. It's just how the position is, and you can never have too much pitching. If there's an old adage in baseball that will never get old, that has honestly gotten better with time, that take is only aged better with time, it's that you can never have too much pitching, and the New York Yankees should make sure they try to add a middle of the rotation or frontline starter to bolster this starting five. It's not that I think this starting five is bad. It's not that I think this starting five isn't capable. It's that I think this group could be the best in the American League, maybe even the best in baseball with the right addition. And I believe that Merrill Kelly, a right-handed starting pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks, would fit that description perfectly. The 36-year-old is in his 7th season as a major leaguer. He spent his first 4 years from 2010 to 2014 as a minor leaguer with the Tampa Bay Rays, then spent 4 years in Korea from 2015 to 2018, and came over to the United States in 2019 to pitch for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And ever since joining the Diamondbacks, he has been one of the better starting pitchers in baseball. Never truly an ace, but a pretty solid pitcher who's ranged from like a number 4 to a number 2 at times. I mean, the guy pitches at such a high level at times, and he's done it without overwhelming velocity. From 2019 to 2025, he has a 3.75 ERA across 154 starts, striking out 22.1% of batters faced and having a 7.3% walk rate. In 2024, he looked like he was on his way out. He had a 4.03 ERA. That was his worst mark since 2021. A 21% strikeout rate, again, his worst mark since 2021, and a FIP that was 4.25. That was the worst of his major league career up to that point. Again, things just looked grim for Merrill Kelly, but this year he has completely turned it around. He had a couple of rough starts to start the season, including a start against the Yankees where he got shelled. He gave up 9 runs and gave up 3 home runs at Yankee Stadium. And he had a couple starts after that where he was solid, but there were still cracks in his game. You could still see that Merrill Kelly was trying to figure some things out. He wasn't getting the swings and misses that he wanted to get, and he was still allowing some damaged contact. If you look at his first 8 starts of the season, Merrill Kelly was using his four-seam fastball 30% of the time, and this pitch has gotten hammered this year. A 245 batting average and a 660 slugging percentage. Batters have tattooed this fastball this season. It is a far cry from where the pitch was at a few years ago. If you look at his fastball back in 2023, batters hit 225 with a 491 slugging percentage and a 26.2% whiff rate. So average has gone up, slug has gone up by nearly 200 points, and the whiff rate has gone down by about 3%. Those are not positive signs for that pitch. So what did Merrill Kelly do? He decided, hey, I'm going to dial back the usage of this fastball. I'm not going to be a four-seam fastball guy. I'm going to still throw it, but it's not going to be my primary pitch, and I'm going to start going to my cutter more. In those first 8 starts, he had a 4.09 ERA and a 4.23 FIP. Afterwards, he had a very, very, very successful 6-start stretch. He had a 2.13 ERA and a 2.05 FIP, striking out 31.7% of batters faced and a 6.2% walk rate. If you look at his pitch usage, his four-seam fastball usage has gone down from 30% to 18.6%, and his cutter usage has increased from 15.2% to 23.8%. He's getting more swings and misses. He is keeping the ball on the ground more often. We're seeing more ground balls. We're seeing fewer home runs as well. These are all really good signs. When we increase our strikeout rate, decrease our walk rate, increase the ground ball rate, and decrease the home run rate, that is a sign that you have just gotten better across the board. You're just doing a lot of really good things. The swinging strike rate has gone up as well to 12.6%. He's become a whiff machine over this stretch. I think the New York Yankees would be remiss to not at least entertain the idea of acquiring him at the deadline. He would be a perfect fit for the middle of the rotation, and I love that he has such a deep repertoire. While I do prefer my guys with power fastballs, big-time stuff, and overwhelming velocity, I also have a soft spot in my heart for guys who have really deep repertoires, because the league has really moved towards appreciating deeper repertoires. As hitters have more information, it's easier for them to adjust and adapt and react to pitches because they have more technology to mimic these pitches and these unique and outlier pitch shapes. Fastball velocity has gone up over the last few years as well. 95 isn't special anymore. It's kind of crazy to say that, but it just isn't. It isn't special the way it was even 6 years ago. His four-seam fastball changeup, cutter, sinker, curveball, and slider all see usage in his repertoire. He doesn't use a single pitch more than 24.6% of the time. That's his four-seam fastball, and that four-seam fastball has seen a decrease in usage rate, so you should expect that number to drop even further. But his money pitch is his changeup, a 36.3% whiff rate. This changeup is disgusting. It's a gross pitch. He'll use it against righties. He'll use it against lefties. He doesn't really care. He'll use it against anyone and everyone. It is an effective pitch. It's a very, very good pitch. It's such a good pitch, and honestly, he should keep throwing it even though he's older now, and, even though that changeup doesn't have, the same, I wouldn't even say same velocity. I would say it just doesn't have the same deception because the four-seamer isn't as good as it used to be. But this cutter has come in, and it's been a good replacement pitch in the meantime. Batters are hitting 100 against it with a 240 slug. I will say the underlying metrics suggest that pitch should be worse than it actually is, but it's still better than that four-seam fastball. All the numbers say that pitch is better than his four-seamer, and that's kind of all that matters here. He also has a sinker he'll mix in. It's not a great sinker in terms of results, but it does a job. It changes looks. It changes movement profiles. It gives hitters a different look, and that's important. He also has a curveball and a slider, both of which are effective pitches, good whiff rates, low batting averages against, low slugging rates against. That's really encouraging. Merrill Kelly is someone who I think has the kind of repertoire that will work even without much velocity, and it has worked for him this season. He has pitched at a very high level. Again, that 3.18 ERA, that 3.22 FIP. He has been excellent for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and some of the qualities I really like here is that he is really good at pitching deep into games. He's averaging a little bit under 6 innings pitched a start. He does a really good job of just going deep into games and racking up innings. That's something the Yankees have with Rodon and Fried, and I think that's helped them throughout the regular season, not putting up a ton of pressure on the bullpen. If Yerry Dos Santos threw more strikes yesterday, they would have only had to use 2 pitchers to get through that game. Rodon, even when he struggles, he'll at least munch on 5+ innings, and that's valuable as well. I get that same quality from Merrill Kelly, and that is an upgrade over whatever the Yankees have in either Yarbrough and Warren in terms of overall volume. Those guys are not as reliable deep into games as Kelly would be, and that's not to disparage either pitcher. They are just not the same quality of pitcher as Kelly is at this point in his career. Now, Merrill Kelly is someone who I know I'm going to get some pushback for because, number one, he's 36 years old, and number two, stuff plus scores aren't great, and as someone who really prioritizes projections and really likes talking about stuff plus and all those metrics, I think Merrill Kelly is an important exception or an important anomaly to discuss because he has a deep repertoire that's going to allow him to overperform some of those stuff plus metrics. He has elite level command, again, something that's going to allow him to overperform those stuff plus metrics. And I also think it's important to note that when we talk about age, while it's important, we're only projecting the second half of the season. We are not projecting the next 2 years of his career. He's a free agent at the end of the year. So the Yankees only have to be worried about what he's going to do in 2025. They do not have to worry about what he's going to do after the fact. And if they do not choose to bring him back, it's an easy player to let go. They don't have to bring him back either. They have enough pitchers in their contract for next year where bringing him back does not have to be a priority for the team unless they are really blown away with what he does. I personally think Merrill Kelly would be a nice stabilizing force as number 3 starter, and when comparing the Yankee rotation with Merrill Kelly in it to other rotations, you would have Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Merrill Kelly, Clark Schmidt, and Luis Seal as your starting 5. You can argue the order of Luis Seal and Clark Schmidt, but I would argue that is the best rotation in the American League. Number one, there are just not a lot of teams that have a number 2 starter performing at the level of Carlos Rodon right now. Number two, most teams don't have a pitcher performing at the level of Max Fried right now. Really the only team with a playoff spot right now that you could argue has a better pitcher than Max Fried on their roster definitively in the American League is the Detroit Tigers with Tariq Skubal, who is far and away the best pitcher in baseball. I don't think that's a fair debate either. I think he just is the best in the game. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, though. And then when you start looking at the 3-starter situations, there are some good 3 starters in the American League. Don't get me wrong. Jose Barrios is a fine starting pitcher. He is not someone you can just cough at. He can definitely provide a quality start, although I doubt how sustainable his pitching profile is. When you look at the Detroit Tigers, they could throw someone like Reese Olson as their number 3. He's a good number 3 starter. I like his profile a lot. You look at teams like the Rays. The Rays, they have Drew Rasmussen at the top. They will throw Ryan Pepiot probably in a game 2 situation. he can't scoff at the fact that they can potentially throw Shane McClanahan in that rotation at some point, and if they do make the postseason, he will certainly play a role in that run, so I don't want to sneeze at them, but I will also say I will take Merrill Kelly over Ryan Pepiot. Ryan Pepiot, good numbers this year, but not as good as Merrill Kelly in my opinion, and then you start looking at other teams. Guardians, they don't really have much of a rotation to speak of. The Twins, they are a quality team, but Pablo Lopez is their ace. Joe Ryan's a number 2. He's probably one of the few guys who can go toe-to-toe with Carlos Rodon as a number 2 starter, but Lopez is on the IL for a good bit, and then their rotation after those two guys. There just isn't someone who has the reliability of Merrill Kelly there. So when we start looking at playoff teams, I mean, it really is Merrill Kelly. He would be the best 3-star in the American League. He would give the Yankees the best rotation in the American League, and that's a huge advantage to have when we talk about matchups. If the Yankees go on to win their division, which is definitely on the table, they are the favorites to win the American League East, and I think that that's an important part of the conversation as well. The Yankees would face a team most likely after they play a wild card series, meaning that they won't have their number 1 available to go in Game 1. You would have an immediate advantage with Fried as your 1. Maybe they have their number 1 ready for Game 2, kind of like how the Royals had Cole Reagans ready for Game 2. And in that situation, Carlos Rodon can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the game right now. And then in a Game 3 situation, Merrill Kelly would face an opposing team's number 2 starter. Merrill Kelly's as good as a lot of the number 2s in your playoff bubble in the American League, so can he go toe-to-toe with Jack Flaherty? I think he's better than Jack Flaherty. Can he go toe-to-toe with someone like a Chris Bassett? I think he's better than Chris Bassett. Can he go toe-to-toe with Joe Ryan? Maybe not Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan's a better pitcher, but the gap isn't massive enough where you can't fathom winning that game. Merrill Kelly would keep you in that game, and you'd hope that your offense being better than the Twins' offense would cover that gap for you. So if you look at this from the standpoint of trying to win the postseason, Merrill Kelly just gives you a massive advantage. Again, like that rotation, you think of an ALDS, Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Merrill Kelly, those 3 guys, oh my goodness. I mean, you would be able to maybe even sweep an opponent. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but if you played a 3-game series or a best of 5 series in first to 3 wins, those 3 guys are going to get you a huge advantage. You're going to be massive favorites in a series like that, even though baseball's a random sport, because your offense is the best in the American League by a country mile. You're expected to outslug everyone. And while your bullpen is a concerning group, it's a group that does have some warts, this acquisition of Merrill Kelly potentially would boost your bullpen as well. You can move one of Luis Seal or Clark Schmidt to your bullpen, and I would also propose, and I would do this in the regular season, I would move Will Warren to the bullpen because Will Warren's numbers, first time through the order, are remarkable. And that really does matter when we talk about how a guy transitions from a starter to a reliever role. If you look at Will Warren's numbers, first time through the order, he has a 3.29 ERA and a 1.86 FIP with a 23.9% strikeout rate. Second time through, the ERA climbs to 6.08, the FIP to 5.14, and the strikeout to walk rate drops to 15.5. Third time through, 9 ERA, a 2.01 FIP, and an 8.6% strikeout to walk rate. So he does a really good job first time through and then really struggles second and third time through. I tried to look for a reason, and it seems to have to do with fastball velocity. His four-seamer and sinker averages 93.8 miles an hour in the first 2 innings, and then after that, it drops to 92.8 miles an hour. So better velocity. You might be looking at a Will Warren sitting 94 miles an hour. Good extension, plus shape, good breakers. I mean, this guy might go out there and be a top-line reliever for you. I know that the comparison to Michael King is kind of like it's just been used a lot, and we have used it a lot. Maybe I have overused it, but I think his stuff would play well in the bullpen role for all of the reasons that Michael King's stuff played well in a bullpen role, because when his fastball's sitting 94, 95, I mean, good God, that pitch is unhittable at times, and the breaking balls are really good. The need to pitch through a lineup multiple times is gone, so you look at those first time through the order stats. Imagine if you could add a reliever who had a 3.29 ERA, a 1.86 FIP, and a 23.9% strikeout to walk rate. That guy would be, the second or third best reliever on this team when fully healthy based on results, just the statistics and how guys have pitched this year. I would have Williams and Weaver above them. I know that Williams got off to a bad start, but I've grown to somewhat trust Williams this year, and I think the projections would tell you that he's going to pitch better than he's pitched to start the year. But Warren would be your RP3, he'd be your third third most reliable, third most used guy. That's awesome. That'd be sick to add. And I know it doesn't work that way perfectly, but I think it could work that way. I think it could end up being a very valuable reliever for this group. If you add another reliever at the deadline, maybe you add a right-handed or left-handed bullpen arm who is a 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th inning guy, like someone who could just be, a bridge to Weaver, you're going to have a very, very, very good staff. And then you start thinking about that postseason environment. You've got Warren, Williams, Weaver, Cruz, Leiter, Heel. I mean, maybe Heel or Schmidt. You could add 2 more guys to that group. Maybe someone like a Loizaga steps up. Maybe you add someone at the deadline. Maybe someone like a Hamilton steps up. You never know what really ends up happening, but that bullpen could be ferocious. And then you add on the fact that we just talked about that rotation. Oh, man, that rotation would be really good. And then you look at the lineup. The Yankees have the best offense in baseball right now. That team would be a unit. And that's kind of what you want to build for the postseason. I know you can't guarantee results. You cannot guarantee a championship. There is no one singular move that will increase the Yankees' World Series odds to above 50%, close to 50%, or even 40% when the postseason opens. I don't think anyone's going to have a 30% chance to win the World Series this year, just based on how many good teams there are. The Mets, the Dodgers, the Padres, the Yankees, the Tigers are really good. You're just not going to have, the Cubs, didn't even mention the Cubs. You're just not going to have a single team be so much better than everyone else roster-wise, most likely. The Yankees have to make sure their roster is flawless, or as flawless as can be, and I think Merrill Kelly makes them the best team in baseball. And a reliever. I think that makes them the best team in baseball. Maybe it requires another infielder. Maybe it requires another arm for the bullpen. But, man, you start looking at that team and you go, what's the hole here? What's the flaw? What's the issue? They hit lefties. They've got bench depth. They got bats off the bench who can hit. They can platoon aggressively. They got arms. They got an ace. They got another ace in Carlos Rodon. They've got Merrill Kelly, who can be a number 2 starter on a lot of staffs, and he's your 3. You've got Heel, Rookie of the Year winner, could be a 2 on some staffs. You got Clark Schmidt. He hasn't pitched as well this year, but he's still someone I think can be a quality number 3 starter for you, and it would really excel in the bullpen role as well. This team could just be all that much better, and I think that Merrill Kelly does it for you. Now, for a mock trade, I would have the Yankees sending number 6 prospect Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, number 17 prospect Griffin Herring, and non-ranked prospect Brendan Beck. 3 pitchers go to Arizona, and the Yankees get a veteran starting pitcher. Maybe that's an overpay, maybe it's an underpay. I would love to know what the comments have to say about it. Personally, I think that the inflated price for pitchers at the deadline will cause the Yankees to have to give up more than what people feel comfortable giving up. But I'd rather give up more at the deadline than not get anyone at all. Remember, this is a World Series contender. They need to act like it at the deadline. They need to make sure that they acquire top-of-the-line talent and the best pitchers available and the best players available at the deadline to make their roster that much better. But I'd love to know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm recording this the day before Clark Schmidt pitches and the day before the Diamondbacks game ends. Like, I'm recording this in the middle of the afternoon. I am not around tomorrow afternoon, which is tomorrow would be today when you're getting this video. So if I get old takes exposed, just know I recorded this before getting that added information. So yeah, there's that. I'd love to know what you guys think again in the comment section below. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and of course, this YouTube page. I'm Ryan Garcia. This is Fireside Yankees, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go Yankees. Peace out.
Perfect.